Wingman Joker, thank you for listening to this channel and please support the channel. Please subscribe. Chapter 14, Cauldron. Reaching the last story and stepping out of the elevator, Adrian swallowed as he slowly took the key from his pocket and unlocked the presidential suite's door. Holding the knob, he paused. He didn't want to admit it, but he was nervous. Super nervous. Go for it, champ. I can't wait. Come on. Be a man. Go in, you damn virgin. All of his soul fragments began to yell at him to go inside, especially those with experience. The buzz in his head left him with no choice but to take a deep breath, then open the door and enter. The dimly lit presidential suite was the exact super luxurious one he remembered from working here for the last few years. It was composed of a foyer that led to a study and a living room that in turn connected to 2 bedrooms, a dining room, and a few other utilities. Pushing the door shut behind him, he took a breath, and then without turning the lights on, he took a few steps towards the living room. There he noticed that the light that illuminated the entire suite was coming from the master bedroom. Holy shit, she is definitely there. Go for it, quick. This is very unethical. We should leave. You are the unethical one, wanting to leave a girl there all alone. Yes, you should comfort her. At long last, we are going to do it. Stupid virgins, can't you control yourselves for a moment? You are the stupid one. Boo, 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 don't listen to that guy. Come on, we have a job to do. Listening to his stupid soul fragments thoughts, Adrian sighed. They were too loud. Damn it, aren't we forgetting something? What? Dealing with the perverts. What did we do now? Not you, you idiot. The ones snooping from outside. Oh, with those thoughts, Adrian flicked his fingers and began supplying his second magical circuit with mana to activate the second-degree magical spell, Minor Isolation Barrier. Slowly, a small blue flame appeared on his index finger which he blew, making a strange white smoke spear from it and then dissipating around him. For the next 10 hours, the entire apartment would be covered with this magical smoke. No one from the outside would be able to receive any information from within, be it physical or magical. Although this spell would not stop someone on the 5th degree or higher from eavesdropping, the way Adrian implemented it was so the moment someone tried to forcibly break through it, it would immediately react, alerting him. He sighed. Now that everything was secured, he slowly approached the bedroom, swallowing for the 100th time. He took a deep breath, then pushed the door wide open and entered like a real man. There, on the grand gilded fluffy bed, a blonde tan girl was sitting naked with only a thin bed sheet covering her body. She was biting her lip and seemingly lost in some miserable thoughts. Yup, she was definitely his crush from school, the sharp-tongued girl who everyone hated and wanted to date at the same time. Summer. Wow, not bad, not my type. WHO asked about your opinion. I am just saying, nothing is wrong with her. I think about 9 out of 10. Yeah, but where is the rapping? Is that what you care about? Just saying, gifts should have one. Idiot, what matters is the girl. I have seen better in the world I was in. I have not. I was in a world of goblins. What are we waiting for then? Go on. Adrian's head began to buzz again, making him take a step backward, accidentally slamming the door behind him. Those damn soul fragments were really annoying when they got excited. Hearing the noise, Summer flinched, then quickly turned and looked at the door, noticing him. She frowned. Adrian, she gasped as she recognized him immediately. He was the most handsome guy at school after all. Ah, Summer. Hi, shit, what the fuck are you doing here? She asked nervously as covered her body tightly with the bedsheet. Right, I remember now. You work here, right? She quickly interrupted him. Adrian, working at the Red Oak Grande Hotel, was not a secret. Summer and a few other of his rich school friends usually come to dine at the hotel's luxurious restaurant. Yes, I used. Adrian began to speak. Quickly leave this place. She interrupted him. If this room's owner comes and finds you here and misunderstands something, you will be in some deep shit. Those guys are very dangerous. She quickly told him. They might even kill you. Thud. The sound of a door closing startled her. It was the front door. Apparently, Adrian didn't close it completely earlier because of how nervous he was. Shit, he must be here. Quickly hide, Summer nervously said, looking around for a good place to hide Adrian. Try the closet, quick. No, they would definitely find you there. Under the bed is better. Adrian stood there in shock, then began to chuckle. He didn't expect that the mean slutty girl in his class would be this caring. Still, with those thoughts, his excited soul fragments finally calmed down and all his nervousness disappeared. Slowly in his mind, all kinds of memories about how to deal with girls appeared, giving him confidence. You really have some strange hobbies, he said with a smile as all of his geeky soul fragments gave way to the more experienced ones. What hobbies? Fuck, there is no time, quick, Summer scolded while whispering. What are you doing? Are you crazy? She finally asked as she watched him take a seat on the sofa near the bed, then stretching his legs on the coffee table as he laid back and relaxed. Slowly, he opened the folder he held in his hand and began to read. Summer Westhorn, age 19, height 5 feet 8 inches, 3 sizes 33, 24 inches, 33. Born in Lumar City. Father is Timothy Westhorn, an opportunist 5th-degree magician and the son of the current head of the Westhorn family. Mother was a null maid. Have 2 brothers who are both 2nd-degree magicians. Adrian began to read, making Summer, who wanted to rebuke him, pause and frown as he began to read her entire history that included everything she had done since she was born. Wow, look at how many people you rejected after they proposed to you. He said. Where did you get that? She finally interrupted him. Someone gave it to me, Adrian said as he flipped the page. We finally reached the good parts. Magical abilities analysis, he read, making Summer, who wants to jump and grab the folder, pause. Although she had very slim hope, since this report included everything, could it also state why she couldn't use magic? Adrian noticed her reaction and quickly began to read. Final analysis, let's see, despite having wide magical meridians and the ability to collect and refine mana, she can't fabricate magical circuits. Reason, unknown irregularities. Final verdict, only suitable to be a cauldron. It would never say that. Summer flared. Yeah, it doesn't, but it is the truth, Adrian said, putting down the folder on the coffee table. So, did that hateful guy send you here to make fun of me? She asked with a self-deprecating smile, looking at the door. She totally got things wrong. Ah, my dear Summer, you seem to be misunderstanding something, Adrian said, clarifying things. Let me introduce myself, he said as he stood up, nearly tripping over the coffee table as he did so. He cleared his throat, straightened his jacket, and then bowed formally, no longer planning to mess with her. The hateful guy, Adrian Redoke, a 5th-rank heir of the Redoke family at your service. He said, quote. Is there anything wrong with your head, or is this that guy's plan? She asked. Adrian sighed. He turned to the folder at the coffee table, took a piece of paper from it, then took 2 steps toward her and handed it with his newly acquired ID. Summer, clutching the bed sheet with one hand, quickly grabbed them and took a look. The first was his ID. She almost gasped looking at his handsome face painted on it and the red oak branching fire tree underneath. No one would dare to fake that, not even as a joke. With her hand shaking, she looked at the familiar document. It was the contract her father forced her to sign this afternoon to make her a cauldron. The owner, name that was empty back then, was now filled with a name written in cursive. Adrian Redoke. You, she gasped and looked up as he sat on the bed beside her legs. You are a Redoke heir? She whispered in amazement as she looked him in the eye. Yup, the one and only. He said. Then why? I was sick, he interrupted her, knowing what she was asking about. I had an accident 10 years ago that left me unable to use magic, forcing me to leave the family. Last week, I was finally able to regain my powers, and today, just this afternoon, after an assessment, I rejoined the family, he explained with a smile, keeping it simple. Then it was my father's idea. He did say that he would give me a gift for returning to the family, but I had no clue it was you until I reached the hotel. Adrian interrupted her again. My family has been keeping an eye on me after all, and they knew who the girl I had a big crush on was. He added, making her blush a little and look away. The door earlier? She asked, feeling a little uncomfortable. It was my mistake, it shut by itself, I was too nervous to close it correctly, he chuckled awkwardly. Quote. So what now? She asked as she bit her lip. It will be all your choice. He said. What do you mean? She turned to him and asked. Did a cow have a choice on the way it was to be slaughtered? She knew perfectly that he couldn't simply let her go, as that would be bad for his reputation. And even if he were to annul the contract using some stupid excuse, her father and brother would sell her off the next day. The only reason she survived this long was because they were waiting for the highest bidder. She has a choice. You are giving her a choice. I think this is fine. No way, we need to just get done with it. I thought you didn't like her. Well, shut up all of you and let him work. A minority of his soul fragments began to make trouble, but as the majority of his thoughts agreed with what he had in mind, he was not disturbed. As I told you before, I have a crush on you, Adrian said, blushing a little as he smiled. And I don't really want to force you into anything, he said. Through his experience in other worlds, he knew that love can only be won, not forced. And he really liked Summer. The moment I signed the contract, the forcing part had long been over, she said seriously. It is your call now, whatever you do with me, she said, clearly afraid of being toyed with. That's not what I meant, he sighed. What I am saying is that I consider you my wife, not a disposable cauldron. He satiated. Oh, then what do you want your newly accrued wife to do? She asked. She clearly was not buying it. Give me your hand, he said, stretching his palm. Summer frowned, then while keeping the bed sheet covering her with one arm, he gave him the other one while wondering what he was playing at. This might hurt a bit, he said as he closed his eyes and began to inject his mana into her body. Are you going to inspect my meridians? She asked with a frown. She had been through this process thousands of times. Yup, it is useless. My dear wife, let me tell you a secret, Adrian said without opening his eyes. I am the smartest man in this world. He told the truth. Oh, so full of yourself, she said with an amused smile. Strongly she funded this very funny despite her grim situation. It was simply because Adrian was a known idiot. If he was the smartest in the world, then most men would be no smarter than dogs. Stop making fun of me and your filthy little brain, he commented as if reading her mind. At the moment he was using the memories of two soul fragments who practiced medicine. Her meridians were perfectly healthy. You are the one with a filthy brain. She spat back. For some strange reason, sitting like this with him and allowing him to hold her hand, made her relax. We will see about that, he smirked. Oh, that's very interesting, he suddenly said as he inspected her. What? Something very strange. Your upper arm might hurt a little bit in a second, so don't be alarmed, he added as he thought about something. Oh, okay, what? Ah, Summer screamed and flinched back, withdrawing her arm fast and then grabbing it with her other hand. That was not a little bit. Fuck, it felt as if my entire arm was about to be ripped off. She scolded, clearly no longer polite with him. Ah, sorry, my fault, he apologized as his eyes began to turn downward slowly. Shit, she quickly noticed that she had dropped the bedsheet earlier. She immediately grabbed it back to cover herself. That was unnecessary, he said. You were the one who gave me the choice. She spat glaring at him. He chuckled. Well, let's talk about business then. Do you want to hear the good news or the bad news? You found something? She asked in an unbelieving tone. Yup, let's go with the good news. You are perfectly healthy, in fact, more healthy than most humans in this world. He commented. Then why can't I use magic? She asked in a sarcastic tone. You can, you are just doing it all wrong. He said with a smirk. You are not kidding, she asked seriously. Nope, then what is the right way? It is literally the right way. He answered. Are you making fun of me? She asked, beginning to bite her lip. A little, but I am telling the truth. He said, jumping from the bed and heading toward one of the decorative bookshelves in the bedroom. There was a book that would always be featured on all bookcases around the world. Magic Basics Armament. It was the simplest introduction to magic that could be found. A kind of Bible of sorts. The presidential suite here differently had a copy. Here it is, he quickly found it before grabbing some stationary utensils from a random drawer. After working in the hotel for years, he knew where those things would be kept. What do you want with that? She asked as she watched him open it to the Zero Circuits page on the back, then tear it off before throwing the book to the ground. For some strange reason, he seemed very excited, like a kid who got a new toy. Let me first explain, what do you know about magical threads? He asked as he spread the paper on the coffee table and then began to fold it. They are the building blocks of magical circuits, Summer, who couldn't help but lean over and take a look at what he was doing, said. They are used to stabilize the mana that magicians collect from the ether in their meridians. She added, deciding to humor him. Was this some kind of play? Probably, but she had no choice but to join. What do those threads look like? He asked randomly as he flipped the page and then finally began drawing on its back as if tracing the other side with some edits here and there. Like a thread of cotton, composed of two stems that twisted over each other, Summer said. How do you twist them? He asked. Well, By making the mana pass through the meridians repeatedly, they just twist on their own due to the way the meridians themselves are twisted, just like a thread-making machine, she said. The doctors have already checked, my meridians are not damaged. Even their theta rho angle is perfect. For someone who plays dumb in school, you are very smart. Adrian couldn't help but look up at her. In my family, being too smart would have only gotten me sold faster. She spat. Her two brothers would never tolerate their low-born half-sister being smarter than them, even if her father didn't care. She told the truth. I see, he sighed. Then, can you tell me what you are doing now? She asked. Ah, yes, Adrian said, finishing with the blueprint. The problem with you is that your meridians are hybrid. He finally explained. What do you mean? She asked. She had never heard that term before. A human's meridian is composed of many layers of cells, Adrian spoke. The usual mana transfer usually happens at the inner layer, followed by the circuit layer and the threading layer on top. I already know that, she said. Opposite to your normal threading and mana layers, your circuit layer is going in the other direction, he said. Other direction, threaded in a different chirality. He explained. Think of it like a screw with reversed threads, it can never enter a normal hole. I know what chirality means, she said as her mind began to turn. Your threading layer is left-handed like normal people, but your circuit one is the opposite, it is right-handed. He continued. I see. Although she didn't believe him, what he said had some reason to it. This condition is very strange and hard to diagnose without a thorough dissection and knowing what you are looking for, he added. Oh, she frowned. The problem with you is that when you try to make your mana threads enter the circuit layer and start constructing your circuit, they just don't fit. The wrong threading would even make them dissipate almost immediately. He said. That's why you screamed in pain earlier. I tried to push some of my mana into your circuit layer to create a rudimentary. You crazy bastard. Did you want me to die? She flared. Inserting mana into another person's circuit was very dangerous, let alone trying to form a circuit in their body. Relax, I know what I am doing, he said as he handed her the circuit diagram he finished editing. This is, she asked, an edited zero-ranked circuit, he said. You can edit circuits now. She raised one eyebrow. Was he crazy or something? Yup, who do you think is the founder of Chestnut Technologies? He asked. Ah, what, you, created that? She asked with a sarcastic tone, totally not believing him. Yup, this is unimportant for now, do you really have a choice? He sighed. Was his credibility in her mind this low? Why not give it a try? He asked. She scowled and then decided to humor him and began to inspect the blueprint. It seemed legit. What does this do? Look here, he pointed to one part. I added a flipping logical circuit. It will untangle the mana threads, then flip their chirality and thread them back on the fly. Whenever you collect mana, you will pass them through this section, and after that, you will be able to use them as normal threads to build your future circuits. He said. Looking at them, although she understood nothing, she felt that what he said made sense. Especially with the edited circuit being completely a mirrored image of the original one. Doesn't this have a side effect? Other than having to use mirror images of any circuit blueprint, you just need to be careful to keep the two kinds of chiral threads separate, or you might literally explode. What? I am just saying, with the circuit design I gave you, this won't happen unless you do it on purpose. He explained. Oh, quote. This still doesn't fix anything though, she finally said after 10 minutes of her squinting at the blueprint. Why? He asked with a smile. This girl was much smarter than anyone took her for. How the hell am I going to build this zero circuit to begin with? She asked as she looked up at him. This was a paradox. In order to construct a zero circuit, she needed the inverted mana threads, which in turn had to be created using the circuit itself. That is the bad news, it will require some sacrifice. He sighed and shook his head. Meaning, she frowned. If she would be able to use magic, she was ready for anything. I will use my own circuits to create the inverted mana threads, then give them to you, he explained. What do you mean? She frowned. How can he simply give them to her? Didn't your father already teach you how the cauldron, mana transfer technique, worked? Yes, and, she blushed a little, her father made her memorize it before coming here. Then you already know what needs to be done. He clapped his hands. Wait, she gasped as she finally got it. You mean to do it in reverse? She exclaimed in shock. Did he want her to harvest the mana threads directly from him? Yup, he said as he stood up and then bowed professionally. For this destined night, please allow this humble young master to sacrifice his first time and act as a cauldron to entertain your ladyship, he said with a confident smile. Summer nearly dropped her jaw. So in the end it came back to this. Fuck, she felt stupid for believing him for a second there. Did he have to go through all of that bullshit just to bang her? Whatever, she had nothing to lose anyway. Damn it, why can't I see anything? A man in black cursed as he pointed his magical binoculars at Adrian's hotel room window. He was standing on the roof of a nearby commercial building. I better report. Thud, the man fell to the floor with blood seeping from his slit throat. He never knew what hit him. Master was right, those guys will play dirty. Logan, who killed the man in one swift movement, said as his razor-sharp elongated nails slowly contacted. Did they really think that Master is blind? He wondered as he fetched a memory crystal that the man dropped from the ground and then activated it, causing a video to start playing on its smooth rounded surface. It was a recording of Adrian entering the room, and then activating some spell before everything turned into white noise. Logan could only sigh, put the crystal away, and look at Adrian's room, which was strangely covered with a thin white layer of mist. As a member of the Maverick's private shadow guard, Logan knew how hard it was to create an isolation array this perfect. Especially considering how fast he watched Adrian do it in the recording. The young master is really Master's own son, he said with a proud smile. Too bad my stupid daughter missed her chance. I should have known that she would grow up to be as snobbish as her mother. He sighed as he grabbed the corpse and began dragging it away easily with one hand.